2025. COVID-19 happened in 2020, and I call that the new age, or the turn of the new age. And so ever since 2020, the world has been different. Consciousness has been expanding on every plane in every country. Everybody is getting new knowledge, new downloads. People are getting into meditating. People are tapping back into their ancient spirituality. It's now in the middle of 2025. But where I am in the Bahamas, it's still 2009. Today in this video, I want to talk about how the Bahamas has been colonized for decades and its own people isn't doing anything about it. Before I get into this, I want to talk a little bit about myself and about my background, just to get rid of any biases or anything like that. My name is Bradley. I was born and raised in the Bahamas, Nassau, Bahamas. I am born of Haitian descent. Both of my parents are natural born citizens of Haiti, even up to this day. They traveled in in 79 or 1980 or something like that. Somewhere in the 70s or 80s, they migrated to the Bahamas, became residents here, and I've been working here ever since then. And so I was born and raised in the Bahamas. I'm a proud citizen. I love my country. I love the fact that I was born here. Despite the fact that every single day, Bahamians of Haitian descent are being, persecuted. I don't know. I don't want to use that word, but I guess persecuted or whatever, for their descent, and for them being proud of their heritage. So that's my background, and so I want to get rid of any biases towards anything. I don't want this video to seem like I don't love this country. I love this country. I'm a proud Bahamian citizen. I vote, and I try my best to benefit my community in the best way possible. And I seek that this video would contribute to the betterment of the Bahamas in terms of consciousness, in terms of our spirituality, and in terms of expelling all the invasive controls that have been dominating this country for decades. So now let's get into it. Let's start off with the coat of arms, with the Bahamas coat of arms. I love it. Amazing design, right? But there are certain things that you need to pay attention to when it comes to our coat of arms, because this sets our foundation. Since grade 1, we're taught the national anthem. We're taught the pledge, the national pledge. We are taught, the coat of arms, forward, upward, onward, together, something like that. But what I want to focus on right now is the fact that, given the history of Christopher Columbus, it's 2025, you should know that Christopher Columbus is not a national hero. Let's get that out of the way. For a very long time, Christopher Columbus Day, or Columbus Day, has been a holiday in the Bahamas. So we have been worshiping and honoring the name of a slave master and a conqueror and a colonizer for years. I think they call it National Heroes Day or something like that now. They've changed it. So that's progress. But given that history, our coat of arms still consists of the Santa Maria, which is the slave ship, or basically the ship that was brought here to quote unquote discover the Bahamas, right? They found the native Indians and the native people that lived here. They became their friends. The native Indian, in true fashion, shared with them, shared crops, shared lessons, taught them, different traditions and rhythms and how to survive in this type of environment, taught them everything they needed to know. Then Columbus and his clan and his tribe or whatever then turned on the Indians, enslaved them, killed them, raped their women and their children, killed their children, burned down their villages, and took full control of the islands of the Bahamas. All right. Now, with that being said, we notice right? I'm not sure if this is being taught in school, but we know this, right? This is history. And now it is something that we know, and it is still in our coat of arms, right? I'm not saying that we should change it, but this sets our foundation as a country. I'm going to get somewhere. We're getting there, right? So that's one foundation, right? And then on the top of the Santa Maria, within the crest, there's the crown from the Queen of England, right? We all know the history there. I'm not even going to get into that because we all know that England and the British are the champions of colonization, imperialism, slavery, the mass genocide of black people, destabilizing African countries, not even just African countries, just countries on a whole, third world countries, raping them of their resources, just, you understand what I'm saying? So there's that. Right? Now, with all that being said, that's our foundation, right? We were colonized by the British, and we were, quote unquote, discovered by Christopher Columbus. And up to this day, we still memorialize and we still honor those figures in our society. And it has taken a huge toll on our progress in terms of consciousness as people within the African diaspora, right? If you compare us to, and I don't like to compare, I hate to compare. I love us Bahamians. I love all Caribbean countries, but just for the sake of this argument, let's look at Jamaica, right? Jamaica was also colonized by the British. I'm not sure if they were also discovered by Christopher Columbus, but we all in the same boat. However, Jamaica is known as one of the most progressive countries in the world in terms of cultural music, cultural movement and consciousness, mainly because of the religion and spirituality of Rastafarianism, which is very old, and it has been descended from Africa, and it is something that Jamaicans have upheld, honored, and respected, and also spread throughout the whole world. I mean, you even see white people now with dreads talking about, Rastafari. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's all over. You understand what I'm saying? Bob Marley. Jamaicans are one of the greatest shakers and movers in culture and movements such as music. And all of that is because even though their foundation has been rooted also in colonialism and imperialism, from a cultural standpoint, they have progressed in terms of taking on the identity of their Africanness, through Rastafarianism and through consciousness, and through Ita living. You understand what I'm saying? And not to say that doesn't happen here. Yes, it does happen here. We do have, Rastas here in the Bahamas, but, as a country, we are still behind in terms of consciousness because of the values that we keep, and also because of the way that we talk. Like, for example, we still say, I don't like mine. Like, it's a cool thing to say, right? And I hate to be that guy to be like, oh, stop saying I don't like mine. Like, bro, it's cool. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if you want to say a joke or something like that, or if you want to play smart with somebody, I don't like mine. But you understand what I'm saying? It almost don't even, mean what it used to mean, but it still means that because you're still saying the words, you're still spelling it out. Words are spells. You understand? So people say I don't like mine just to say like, yo, I'm not gay. Stop playing with me. You understand what I'm saying? But that should be expelled. Why? Because, bro, why are we still focusing on homophobia in 2025? Right? If you're not gay, you're not gay. You don't have to be gay. Nobody's forcing gayness on you. I'm not gay. I'm straight. I've always been straight. I've always been proud of my sexuality and my heterosexuality. But the hate towards another person for their sexual orientation is just something that has been keeping us back. You understand? Because we can't embrace other people within our society who have those preferences, right? Another thing, religion. I only want to talk about this just a little bit because I don't want to focus on it too much. But religion has caused us to not progress as a society. I can only speak of Christianity because I was brought up in it. I was brought up in a Christian household. My mom, still to this day, is a Christian. My dad, Christian Catholic, I believe. I was raised in church for some years throughout high school and all. I was a Sunday school teacher. I preached in church for kids. You understand what I'm saying? Yes, me. I did. Right? I also went to a Christian university, Tulsa, Oklahoma, or Roberts University. It's a die-hard Christian university, very conservative. So I can speak from that standpoint that Christianity, just to put it into perspective, it's not our religion as black people. It is a religion that has been forced onto us throughout the period of slavery. Before slavery, we knew nothing about Christianity. It was not a part of any of our traditions. What we did is we practiced our own traditions and African spirituality that honored our ancestors, that honored God in the universe, that paid reverence to God and the universe, and also paid respect to nature and the world around us. Throughout the slave trade, people realized that, for example, countries like Haiti used their spirituality, namely Haitian Vodou, to assist them in freeing them from slavery. And so the white power structure, to free us from the power that we have had in our spirituality, convinced us that our traditions that were passed down from generations that are older than any religion on this planet, I'm talking about just older, right? They convinced us that our beliefs and our faith were demonic, and still is demonic, right? And convinced us that what we're doing is wrong and that we should believe on the Lord Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior, and believe in this Christian God, this Catholic God, this Baptist God, this Pentecostal God, right? And that we should trust every word that comes from out of this Bible that they pass around for free, which nothing in life is free. And every truth in this world is hidden and needs to be searched for. So if they're just passing around this Bible and saying this is the truth, any reasonable person that is discerning would question, is this the truth? Spoiler alert, it's not. Most of it is not. So they have convinced us as Bahamians that whatever traditions that our forefathers had were demonic, that our forefathers were demonic, and that we need to believe in the Christian faith. And if there's any other black person that is practicing anything, case in point, the Haitians, we should detest what they do, we should detest them, and we should hate them, right? And so now Bahamians have this affinity and this passion and this xenophobia that is greater than almost anything I've ever seen in the world. They hate Haitians, not worse than people in DR. I don't want to talk about that because that's not really my point of view. My point of view is mainly the relationship between Bahamians and Haitian, because I am born and raised in this society, and it is not good. It's been progressing, but it's not good. And we need to learn to love our brothers and sisters, because the same religion or the same spirituality that they practice is the same thing that led them to becoming the first free black republic, disrupting the whole slave trade, the whole the whole slave plantation trade thingy, whatever, conquest in the Caribbean, one country by country by country, and helping other countries in Central America, South America, United States. I mean, the Haitian army was a powerhouse. And one of the main ingredients, if you read the Black Spartacus, one of the main ingredients in allowing this to happen is their religion and their spirituality. So we should never hate. We should love them. Number two, okay, even besides that, we despise Haitians because, a lot of times we feel like they're nasty. They do gross shit. They do this, they do that, da 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 da. You understand what I'm saying? Like, they live like poor people, right? They don't, they come around and they dirty up the community and this and that. This is not what I'm saying. This is what other people are saying, right? Think about it, right? Let's put ourselves in their position, right? This country has been destabilized by the CIA since the 80s for decades, to the point where it's been brought down. The French government and the U.S. government put heads together and really drug this country to the ground by manipulating their government, corrupting their government, and just destabilizing their economy, not trading with them, just making sure that they're poor as shit. So imagine if this country, imagine Haiti being poor since the 80s, you understand? And then you just being born in like 2009 and all you know is poverty. All you know is garbage on the street. All you know is shit on the road. All you know is, littering and all these different things that, people in really, really poor third world countries do. That's all you know. So when you move and you migrate to look for a better life and you end up in the Bahamas, you're going to still carry that with you. We should detest these actions, but we shouldn't let that describe our people. We know that they're better than that. But because they've been living in these conditions for decades, that's all they know. You understand? So I'm just saying we can do better. And let me touch a little bit more. Let me go a little bit deeper into why what's the problem with Haitian immigration in the Bahamas, because that's something that people probably are going to ask, like, hey, why can't they just go somewhere else? Why they got to come here? Why they got to flock here? Why? Bahamian citizens, my fellow Bahamians, I apologize, but I do want to say that this doesn't have a lot to do with you. It's a business thing. It's a government thing. Let me tell you what's going on, right? So the average Bahamian here, for us being in the privileged position that we are in, our dollar is pegged dollar to dollar with the U.S., right? Our economy is the best, if not one of the best, in the Caribbean. In comparison to other Caribbean countries, we live in luxury. We live in like Larry. We live in large. You understand? And when stuff like that happens, we tend to let our guard down and we tend to become lazy. Not all of us, but many of us, Bahamians. You understand what I'm saying? And when that happens, right? Now, because you in this position of, you understand, like, you in this position, you're not going to go do the low down, dirty job of cleaning people's yards and, doing all the landscaping and this and that for cheap. Basically, what I'm saying is cheap labor. It's cheap labor, and the government is allowing it to happen because we're in a recession right now. Money is scarce, and a lot of these big hotel owners and businesses can't continue to keep paying the prices that that they're paying for to Bahamian citizens here who can demand a certain pay. So what they do is the average Haitian that comes from out of Haiti, they only earning 4 cents a month or something like that, like some crazy amount. You understand what I'm saying? It's crazy low amount. When they come here and you offer them $3, $2 an hour, $4 an hour to clean the yard or work in this restaurant or work in this warehouse and do this or work in this hotel, they're going to do it. And let me tell you something. Where they come from, they struggle so much. They will do it with their heart. They will not complain. They will say, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. They will do it respectfully. They will work hard. You understand? And that's what we don't understand, is that the labor is cheap. The labor is easy. These people are easy to manage. Why not? Bring them in by the flock. So there's agreements with immigration. This is my theory now. I don't know if this is true. This is my theory. There's agreements with with immigration to, hey, when the captain is coming in, just put a couple dollars in his hand. Let these people come in by boat or by plane. Give them some visas or whatever. Give them a work visa for a year. Let them work for cheap. Whenever it's over, catch them while their stuff is expired. Send them back and let them pay to have to come back. So that's another stream of revenue to begin with. And just keep that whole cycle going on so that we can have workers here to keep our tourism is our number one number one sector in the Bahamas. We need to keep that going. If we can't bring money in to continue paying our employees and continue providing services to these rich tourists that come in and spend money here, then we have no business and we have no money. So we got to keep it going. And if hiring cheap labor for now in this recession is the way to keep that going, hey, by all means. Lastly, I want to answer this question. Why isn't the U.S. Demolishing us, destabilizing our economy, destabilizing other Caribbean countries' economy and this and that and what have you? The reason being is because we play ball, right? Whatever the U.S. says, hey, jump. We say, how high? You understand? Whatever they say we do, we do. Same goes with the British. You understand? We let them do whatever, and we get to play ball. But the moment we decide that we want to resort to our own traditions and our own spirituality and our own thing that's passed on down to us, then we will see hell on earth, because they will not allow us to do that. They want to maintain control of us. They rule this world. You understand? So as long as we play ball, we get to make money. We get to operate, and we get to berate the Haitians for being poor and for flocking into our country and trying to bring our country down. You understand what I'm saying? But let's realize this, right? This is the point of this video. I don't want to make it all about, Asian, Bahamian, and everything like that. My main point is that we all, if it weren't for the slave trade, the Atlantic slave trade, we would have all been in Africa. I probably would have been in Benin or Nigeria or somewhere around in there. Bahamians probably would have been in Angola or something like that. Jamaicans probably would have been in Ghana. We would have been in some part of Africa. We would have been African, and we would have had our own traditions still passed down, and passing it down to our kids and having them pass it down to their kids. We'd have still been one with nature. We would have probably been even more technologically advanced. I mean, they fucking already had free electricity sorted out with pyramids all the way back in them times. You think this is new technology? We way behind. You understand what I'm saying? We already knew this shit. You understand? But that's the thing, is that us black people being the first set of human beings to inhabit the earth, and our wisdom that we carry in our DNA, they want to keep that unactivated for as long as possible. And that's why the Bahamas is in the place it's in right now. Because don't you ever think that the Prime Minister, Philip Brave Davis, or the Governor General is in charge. He's not in charge. You understand? I wouldn't even say King Charles is in charge, or Donald Trump is in charge. You know who's in charge? People with money, white people with money, the people who have the leverage and the money to lobby and influence these politicians like Trump and King Charles and whoever, and influence their decisions so that they can make policies and pass it down into the Bahamas. And they are in control. You understand what I'm saying? You're seeing. Okay, I don't want to get into that. I don't want to say that, but they're the ones in control, and they're the ones making sure that they, get the most loot out of our country as possible, out of our people as possible, without us ever achieving any point of consciousness to gain control and be our own men, our own society. You understand? So that's what this video is all about. My name is Bradley, and I am here to raise consciousness in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. See you again soon.